Hi class, my name is Joaquin Bayonne, and this is my presentation number 4 titled Reduction of Global Waste. So in this presentation, I'm going to cover 3 main topics. The first one is going to be the need, which is where I'm going to cover the overall effects that pollution is having in our earth, the world. Where I'll be talking about the effects of it on our animals, the people, the environment. And then from there, I'm going to transition over to the plan. And in the plan, I'm going to talk about what we're doing right now to reduce the pollution, what we as individuals could do in order to reduce the pollution, and so on. And then from there, I'm going to transition over to the visualization, where I'll be talking about mainly about how if we keep going at it with cleaning up the world, the pollution off the planet, what we will see from our earth and what will come to be seen. So before I get into the main project, I want to talk about Oscar. So Oscar is one of the cats that I own. Despite his appearance, he is an outdoorsy cat. And so we let him out occasionally here and there. There's a kind of like a little community of cats that live around our area. It's a safe environment for him to, walk around, play around, all that stuff, right? But why I bring him up is that he's not the most brightest cat. There's been an occasion where he has swallowed a foreign substance, and we have had to do surgery and take it out because he was throwing up, getting all sick. So I want to talk about kind of what goes on if not just like a cat like Oscar swallowing that, but just any sort of wild animal swallowing a foreign substance such as a plastic or any sort of just toy, right? When a wild animal swallows, some sort of pollution, they end up getting sick, not being able to get as active as they should be getting in order to live, and so on, right? And worst case scenario, they swallow some sort of chemical byproduct. They could get, really, really sick and potentially even die by that, right? So moving on from Oscar and just the effects of what happens when, animals such as Oscar swallows a product that shouldn't be swallowed. I'll be talking about the need. So in this picture right here, it's a possum that had it was like this little McFlurry sort of top lid that got cut around his neck. And when I found this possum, I was opening my door just to let a spider out, just because, I love spiders, I love bugs, so I wanted to let the spider out. But when I opened the door, I saw this opossum just standing in the corner right there, just chilling. I'm not too sure what it was up to, but it was there. And so, my first thought was to honestly, get the piece of plastic off. So there's me with my tweezers and the scissors, because I was trying to pull in the plastic in order to cut it. The original plan was to grab it with my hand and just kind of take it off. My mom was there, and you know how moms could be. She was kind of a little bit worried about me getting bit, but that's understandable, right? But anyways, so I'm gonna use this quote from The World Counts, and in this quote, they say, "The waste is dumped on land-based dumpsters or in the oceans, and include construction, industrial, household, plastic, electronic, radioactive, and sewage runoff waste." So when we have these different types of waste getting thrown around in our environment and kind of cycling back towards where they came from in a way, they poison the environment, right? They poison the animals that need the produce or whatever food in order to survive. And not only that, but we're also poisoning ourselves because these type of waste gets thrown into our soil. And in our soil, that's where we grow our produce, such as, veggies, fruits, all that stuff. And those produce goes into markets where we eat these produce that have these foreign chemical substances in them. And the issue with that is that these chemicals, they can cause things such as birth defects, increased likelihood of cancer, diseases, sicknesses, anything just of that sort, right? And I got more facts such as an approximation that 20% of the total methane emissions are produced in open waste landfill sites. Leaking waste not only poison animals, but also produce that humans eat, as I stated earlier. And landfills end up allowing greenhouse gases to be released into the atmosphere, which are which greenhouse gases are, the main kind of conductor of global warming, climate change, all that. So the big bad villains of global warming, big reasons why pollution is a huge issue, right? So onto the plan of action. So the plan of action is to obviously clean up the pollution, right? the most simple thing. We already have things such as a mechanized recycling plant over in Brazil that is able to process approximately 2,000 tons of waste per day, which, don't get me wrong, it's a lot, right? But unfortunately, it's not enough, as we still see an exponential rise in pollution on a day-to-day basis. So that's where we could come in, right? We as individuals come in. We don't necessarily need these big mechanical machines in order to clean it up. We could simply, with our hands on our bodies, grab the trash and just throw it out, right? And the quote by IC, they bring up, the flip side of this somber scenario is that it's a fixable problem. Unlike other complex climate and development-related challenges that require major innovation and technological advances to address, scalable methods to curb waste general pollution and methane emissions already exist in practice. So just as I stated, right, we don't need these big, heavy machinery in order to clean up the waste. It's nice to have them, right, as they do help clean up the world, but it's something that we can also do ourselves, right? And so, if we keep going on with, just cleaning up the world, right, we get to the visualization of what we could see, right? And what I could see in the future is just walking around in a city, town, park, going to hike, and just seeing no trash, right? Clean, free, all that stuff. Seeing it at the utmost peak of it, what it should be, just being beautiful, all that. Me personally, one of my dreams is to get a chance to swim the Great Barrier Reef. Unfortunately, though, it's in a state where it's dying out and has been, getting really badly impacted by the pollution. So that's what I hope to see, especially with something like the Great Barrier Reef, which is the biggest coral reef system in the world. Houses thousands of species of animals, hundreds of different type of corals. I hope that I get to, swim in there at its peak and at its best livelihood, right? And according to authors such as Mike Ismay, Daniela Cesari, and David Walkenfield from The Conversation, they state in their article that the Great Barrier Reef has been able to make a rebound and has started its recovery. So how I see that is, I think it's a glimmer of hope that it's not necessarily too late for us to, clean up the world and help protect it and keep it safe. There is still many different chances for us to keep it clean and keep it beautiful, as I stated. And so that's basically the main points of my speech. Here are my references. And in conclusion, I just hope that you as the audience could just, go out in the world. You see that piece of trash on the ground, just feel free to grab it, throw it away. Simple as that, right? Because to me, I think that's a really big step into keeping our world safe and clean, and overall just a big step for humanity in order to keep it, a beautiful world, right? Anyways, that's everything. Thank you for giving me the chance to do my speech. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.